I want to show you all how to connect MassTransit to an existing exchange inside of your RabbitMQ server. So by default, MassTransit in .NET will basically create the exchange whenever you publish a message. So it's going to create an exchange using the namespace of whatever class you specify on your publish endpoint. So in my case, I'm using this logger. So it's going to be two short engines front end .consumers, and then it'll be :logger. That'll be the name of the exchange that MassTransit is going to create. So let's pull up Postman, and I'm actually going to send a couple messages just to show you that it's going to create that exchange like you just saw. So it's going to go ahead here, and you can see a message rate. So this exchange was literally just created. I don't know if you could see that happen on the screen. It's pretty quick, so it's pretty easy to miss. So let's go ahead and bind this to a queue. Whoops. And I already have a queue set up. We're going to call that logging. We're going to bind that to a queue, and then we're going to send a couple more messages, publish a couple more messages to this exchange that are then going to be routed to that queue. So you can see a few messages made its way through here. I'm just going to send one more so we can see that number increase. So you'll see that bump to 4 in just a second. And there it is. So that's the default functionality. And we can specify that binding in the code, but I just kind of want to show you what happens with exchanges. So if you want to connect to an existing exchange without MassTransit specifically going out and creating a new exchange, let's say you're creating a new producer inside of an existing system, or you're maybe swapping out a producer. So whatever refactoring you're doing, you might not want MassTransit to create an exchange for you. So I'm going to show you how to basically wire into an existing one. So I have this exchange already set up called logging, and it's already bound to a queue that I want to use. So I have a name of the exchange called logging. So that'll be important to know because that's what we're going to need. So if we go ahead and copy the name of the exchange, and then we go back over to our .NET solution, you can see that we have a couple things we're going to need to do. So if we go into our program.cs file, go ahead and go over to your configuration where you're using RabbitMQ. So this is going to be inside of your builder.services.add MassTransit. And if we're going to go ahead and go down to inside of our configuration, and we're going to look at this line of code here. So this is on the configuration, and we're saying we're going to call .publish, and then give it the type or the class of the type that you're wanting to send or publish to the queue. So again, that was right, this public class of logger. So we're going to give it that logger right there. That's where we're going to specify the type. And then inside of this configuration, we're going to specify what the type of exchange is. And this type has to match what RabbitMQ has set up. So because my type here is a fan out, right here, that's what we need to say here. So the exchange type .fan out. And I think that is part of, that's part of RabbitMQ.client. That'll just give you the type of exchange types. You could just put a string if you want to, or if you can just use this on the side of the RabbitMQ client. It's up to you. That's step one. Step two is we actually have to come back to our class, and we have to add this attribute here called entity name. And entity name has to match what the exchange name is if we want to use the same exchange. So because my exchange name is logging, that's what we're going to put as the entity name here. And that's it. So what we're going to do here is, now that I've added back that code, let's go ahead and save that. I'm going to stop this. And what I'm going to do is, just to show you that it works, is I'm going to go back to my exchange list, and I'm going to delete this exchange that was automatically created. And I'm going to show you that it does not get created again once we set this custom topology on inside of .NET. So let's go ahead and go back to here, my solution. We're going to start this up again. So it pulls up our engine project that we were working on. So let's go back inside of RabbitMQ, and what we would expect is it's going to be published to this logging exchange here. That's then going to show up inside this queue. So let's go ahead and purge these messages actually so we can get a full complete picture. So that'll kick back to 0. So let's pull open Postman, and I'm going to let's send a couple messages. And let's go back to, let's refresh my exchange. You can see that now I have a publish in rate now, and you can see that my queue has 2 messages. So if we go back to the exchanges, you will be able to see, even after we refresh, that no exchange was created automatically. It's using now an existing exchange inside of RabbitMQ, and it's using the existing bindings that are set up on that. So that's just one bit of configuration that you can do inside of MassTransit. Again, this has a very specific use case, but it's important to know, especially if you're wiring into an existing system that may already have some of the stuff set up for you. So honestly, that's really about it. So again, it was just this configuration here, and then just specify an entity name above the class you're trying to use. And that's really it. So hopefully this was helpful. I'll see you on the next one.